This episode is brought to you by Trailer Park Yard Games, where over 28 games are delivered directly to your party. We park the trailer, you party.
But in my life, I've owned a bread route, and I've also ran a milk route. So I've been the milkman and the bread guy.
Awesome. The milkman.
How many children do you have?
I don't know. I had how many stops? I deliver to businesses. It's changed a lot to the milkman idea, but.
Well, let me ask you this. So you've worked with other companies you've had. Sounds like your own.
Let's have a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.
Well, welcome to the PB and Jaisy podcast, a podcast about nothing and anything.
Hey.
And to my right is...
Jaisy George.
To my left is...
Sarah Padgett. P-A-D-G... Hold on, I'm spelling P-A-D-G-E-T-T.
Is that right?
Yeah, that way if someone wants to look me up on the internet.
Okay. So if you're looking for Sarah Padgett on the internet, don't do it. It's really boring. You don't want to go down that road.
I only thought I was introducing today's session. I guess I'm wrong, but I'm Bill Stedham, and I just do what I'm told. You know, today's guest grew up in Mansfield and graduated from Mansfield High and then went into the Army. And, you know, after some time into the military, he transferred back into civilian life and into the reserves, and he started C4 Contractors. And they employ a lot of vets. And being a fellow... Not veterinarians, no.
No animals?
Actually.
I mean,
Are the men animals?
We love animals.
Wow. Being a fellow vet myself, I'm very interested in learning more about Brandon's story. So, Brandon, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, and then Mike, you go right after.
All right, thanks. Appreciate you guys having me on. Again, Brandon Hudgins, Core 4 Contractors, and a veteran-owned roofing and construction company across the board. So, yeah, like Sarah said and you guys said, I graduated here in Mansfield. I kind of bounced around as a kid and ended up in Mansfield around 7th grade. And that's where I kind of found my home, you know, because I came from a split family where my mom and us, you know, we lived in Fort Worth and Granbury and moved around a lot. And then eventually I moved to my dad's, which, you know, he grew up, you know, and his whole family was based here in Mansfield. And it's where I found my best friends and really kind of my adolescent homies and everybody.
Oh, you did.
This guy right here, it's funny because Mike right here next to me on my left, he was friends with my little brother, who was about 3 years younger, and I didn't like my little brother, but I loved Mike, and I was like, all right, well, we can be homies.
Can we switch?
Yeah. And he's what I call the personality of our company. So if you've ever got a chance to go and look at anything about our company, everybody tells me, and all my military friends and all the people who are in San Antonio and travel, they watch our videos because we do a lot of skits and videos and rap videos. And he's the mind behind a little bit of our company personality. And they're like, dude, that's the face of your company.
Wow.
That's the face of my company right here.
That's awesome.
So, Mike, introduce yourself.
I'm not sure who I am.
Okay.
Who are you today? Who do you want to be?
I just want these people to keep talking about me.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. And Brandon kind of expressed it. I'm Texas born and raised. Came from West Texas, a little place called Andrews. And I've lived here in Mansfield since, well, I don't live here at the moment, but lived in Mansfield since I was preschool. And I meant like before school, not actual preschool. So preschool maybe.
I was going to say when you were in Huggies,
So
but
you were
still probably happening, right?
It's so much easier.
It is.
So much easier.
Were you in the military as well?
I was not. Nope, I won't.
No, I won't.
I won't
Nope.
do it. No,
Not doing it.
No, it was something I did think about, but I never got that far into the thinking.
Yeah.
You got to be a little bit below
You gotta be ready.
Yeah.
the thinking part of your life
Right.
to join. So
That's how you get them.
Oh, wow.
That's how they get you.
Okay, now 2/3, I'm not good at
So,
math, so more than 2/3. 2/5 of our podcast is offended.
Yeah.
Is that
Well,
good?
three's
4/10.
You know, it's
Just
not
three
really.
of them.
I'm not
No, two.
offended, but
I'm not offended
One,
either. I think it's
two,
fun.
got it.
It's
yeah, it's fun.
So, Brandon, how long were you in the military?
I'm still in, so I got 20 years in. I got roughly around 5 that were active duty. I got a deployment to Afghanistan, been to Vietnam and Cambodia, and a little areas like that, and some South and Central America stuff for other ops and other missions that we do.
Wow.
So, currently, like I said, last weekend, still doing military stuff. These guys can attest the fact that what we do, especially in my job, parts of it are, a little bit more, kind of low key. We don't talk about some stuff. But it's actually one of the best jobs in the Army. It has a lot to do with kind of sort of advertising and influence. It's called tactical psyop, airborne. So we jump out of planes, and pretty much our job is to influence a target audience or personality or something to do whatever the agenda is. No, it's
mind
feels
control.
not really like
It feels
that.
very top secret right
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but
now. Are
it's
we
fun.
allowed to air this?
Yeah, you can air it.
Okay,
I'm not,
okay.
like I said, I'm not the super cool guy. I'm just the guy who
He's
wants
gonna
to
pull out a pen and just like Men in Black us. Yeah. And we're just gonna be like, wait, what happened?
It's not like we sit there and make goats fall down. There's movies that say, you make goats fall down and
Right.
use all those things. It's not like that at all. But it is super fun, and it gives me a great avenue to always hone my skills in marketing, and on the good way, and always reach out, and it gives me a good opportunity to help people with my business, So when I combined, the service work, the service personality that I bring into running a business, it's great. I get to hire good personalities, and it gives me a good situational awareness of how to pick those people and personalities to work for me. For sure. Versus, finding, the guy who worked for 5 other companies who just happens to keep going and jumping around and maybe not being a good producer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and I've seen, they were very, very involved in our golf tournament, which I know we've talked about that on the last couple episodes, but to see you, and I think you had brought some of your guys with you, and just to see them interact with you and the mentorship and the leadership, it was really cool to watch. So tell us a little bit about that. What does that mentorship look like for you now?
It's funny. Everybody thinks Army's a bunch of screaming and yelling, a bunch of rock heads, it's not that. The best mentorship is really just being
As you say, though, you're sitting here with your, jacked muscles.
Yeah.
No, man, it's treating people like a human being. You
Yeah.
talk to somebody like a man, and I tell everybody, even in my company, we're big boy rules here. Or woman, whoever it may be.
Yeah.
But we're big boy rules, big girl rules. We'll set a standard. This is our standard. You meet these standards, and if you don't, we'll help you and figure out what the problem is. And if you still don't, then we'll continue to do personal growth or something like that. But mainly, everybody we pick is really good with personalities. The soldiers in general, I think they're really like the reserves is a hodgepodge of people look down sometimes. They're like, oh, you're just reserves. Oh, I was active duty for 20 years. Well, I was active duty too, bro. And the thing is now I get the opportunity to continue to serve and do what I want and get to, hopefully, no offense, but make money and, develop a career and do the things, for my family that the military can't always provide you. And a lot of that's finances.
I didn't know that was a thing, that they would look down on any.
Army dudes.
You're speaking his language for a minute.
I was going to say, whether it's the Army, the Air Force, Navy, it doesn't matter. That there are some arrogant individuals out there that try to look down and say, okay, there's a classification difference, whether you're active duty or reserves. And then there's other people that'll come out and try to say, okay, well, this service is better than the other service.
Yeah.
Here's the reality. If you give back to your nation, you serve. It doesn't matter how you serve.
Amen.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how long you serve. The key is that you served.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, Mike.
Mike?
I've worked in restaurants.
The reality of it is, though, that everybody serves in one way, shape, or form or another, right?
Sure.
And it blows my mind when I listen to people that are always concerned about, well, what's your rank, or how far did you go, or what did you do?
That's just ego. That's a pissing.
It's 100%.
And that'll be in anything. In real estate, it'll be, well, how many deals have you closed? How long have you been in the business?
Oh,
Which
yeah.
agency are you with?
much money
This or
did you raise
that,
for
whatever.
your
Yeah, how much?
charity?
Yeah.
They're making fun
Well,
of me because
you know.
I did not raise the same amount as someone else. in their
Not the
golf
same
tournament.
amount. He did better than you.
He did, and so they're calling me second place.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's just motivation in my mind.
I know. Now I'm pissed off.
It's
Right
all
now.
right.
The only reason that was said, because I know what it'll do to Sarah, but
It'll light a fire under
what
her.
she references is two people started a golf tournament in the same year, and they both, you were at
They both
Sarah's,
did
right?
awesome.
They both did awesome, because the first year most people do a golf tournament's $5,000-$10,000. They both raised over $40,000.
I know. I saw that. That's
And-
what she did.
But that was
amazing.
because of you. And leaving your credit card there, I was able to charge all kinds of stuff to help us reach our goal.
Thank you for helping us to reach our goal of $40,000.
I know. I left it there for
A
like
lot
a
of
month
it
or
was-
two.
yeah.
She was like, "Are you
Well,
ever
okay,
going to
so
get this?"
the story was he had an open bar tab. I don't know if it was bar tab or whatever tab. He had it open there at the golf tournament. And I went to the ladies, like, everybody good? She's like, well, we have an open tab. Well, I was thinking he just left like a tab. Like I was like, oh my gosh, he's supposed to be volunteering and he just leaves me a tab. But she's like, no, the card's here. I was like, oh, well, that's no big deal to swipe it. Like he'll pay for it. It's fine, you know. But at first I was like, Brandon, really?
Well, I was wrapping up. You know, I had one of my guys, one of the soldiers who came out and volunteered to help out that day and run the booth. He hadn't slept all night. Okay, he literally got off work at 6 in the morning and drove from Plano
Oh my goodness, to Cleveland.
all the way to Cleveland.
Oh wow.
And I was trying to get the gear and equipment pushed up and have one last conversation with the guys and tell them thanks for coming out and serving. Because part of, you know, Core 4 Contractors, it starts out with community, optimal service, reliability, and excellence. That's what I brand my company off of.
Oh, awesome.
And then that's what we do with them soldiers. We had 2 or 3 events after yours where these same guys would come and volunteer and kind of do this kind of work because it's big in the community that we're in, whether it's Army or civilian, we'd like to give back. So I was just in a hurry and I was trying to
No, you
get
did the
these
right
guys
thing.
out
Your
there.
card was there. Your card was there.
Yeah.
At first, though, I was thinking, really?
Yeah, just, you know.
That's funny. So with, I thank you so much for all that you've been doing with employing so many vets kind of adapt to civilian life
It's
and
hard.
things like that. Yeah. Do you feel like it's not just, you know, it's not like a 9-to-5 job where they're like working on a roof and whatever. Like, do you feel like the mentorship carries on? Like,
It does because, you know, there's 2 or 3 options. You know, with our company, you have to actually go through a training program. Some companies are like, hey, you go ride with Bob, you'll be great. Bob's going to love you. And Bob really doesn't care about you because you're now a competitor with Bob, you know, for sales. It's like having 2 real estate agents, you know, kind of, oh, you help each other out. And if you don't have a good heart, it'll sometimes go bad, right? So and that's why I said, here's the deal, you know, I'm going to be the training mechanism here, you know, and we're going to train everybody. He had to go through it. And then after you get your 3 weeks of training, which is, you know, contracts, insurance, inspections, like how to write, you know, the reports, how to understand everything we do. And, you know, we do a ton of role playing too. You know, how do you counter objectives? How do you,
I'll be the cheerleader.
you know, yeah, dude, come knock on my door. And then I'm going to be the homeowner that's real grouchy for, you know, 30 minutes and try
But
to, you
that's
know.
great. A lot of companies don't do that.
We want them to get comfortable. But the same with the military. I do the same thing with my military guys when we talk about what we call key leader engagements. Talking to, you know, bad guys overseas or influencers or, you know, let's just say like an imam or a mullah or somebody of a different religion. And we have to have that, hey, why are you here, America? We don't like you, you know. We have to put them through that kind of role playing. And then I just kind of took that and put it with my company. I said, well, what's the best way to get used to this is these kind of things. So the soldiers who I try to invite, or the sailor or the airman, we did a mass hiring one time, and we probably hired about 10 of these guys. And they were all great guys. And I will say that it's really hard because sometimes they're still integrating. Sometimes they don't know what they want to do, so they just go, oh, I heard roofing makes a lot of money. Let's go
Does that
there.
sound familiar to you?
Yeah,
Real
yeah.
estate? That's what people go
So
to.
they get in there and then they realize, oh yeah, you can make a lot of money, but it's really, really hard. And it's not like you're going to do it overnight because you can be the best sales guys, but if you're not organized, well, then your deals are going to fall apart, you know. And if you're not a truly caretaker of that home and that property, well, then the homeowner's going to see right through you. You know, so these guys were really good about a lot of different things, but they're hard. Some of it was just hard to get them to. And some of them needed to be told to wake up at 5, to be here at this time, and we eat at this time, and we do this at this time.
because they're so regimented.
And the quitting time is, I had a guy who was a 30-year colonel, and he was working for me, you know, and he was a colonel for 30 years in the medical field of the Army, and he was like, yes, sir, yes, sir. I was like, dude, chill, man. It's Brennan. But he was my hardest worker. It's just hard to get his personality to kind of break into talking to people. And you know, he got to see and work with all the guys.
Oh, he's offended.
Out of the group, out of those guys.
I got a question for Mike.
Yeah.
So, how is it working with a bunch of military guys? Because I assume you're one of the few that aren't military in the organization.
Well, right now, I'm the only military guy right now. I mean, besides 2 or 3 guys who are part-time.
Okay.
So, but we did go through that where he hired a bunch and we had basically, you know, first thing in the morning, getting in line and feeding us chow.
You had to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Every morning. So that was a tough period for me. No, I guess from my perspective, my dad was a Marine. So, and he was in, you know, Vietnam era. He didn't actually get deployed because 2 guys in his squadron or platoon died during training, so they did an internal investigation, and he got lucky and they stayed behind. And my dad also joined at 16, and his mom is like the one that kind of pushed him into it, which is really weird. But with that being said, I kind of grew up under the military parental raising. I don't know. Is there a term for that?
Were you beat every day?
So what did you do before this?
Well, so before I was in roofing, I did quite a few things, but right before I started in roofing, I was working in a restaurant.
Okay.
But in my life, I've owned a bread route, and I've also ran a milk route. So I've been the milkman
awesome.
and the bread guy.
Awesome. The milkman.
How many children? How many children do you have?
I don't know. I had how many stops? No, I deliver to businesses. It's changed a lot, the
For
milkman
sure.
idea, but.
Well, let me ask you this. So you've worked with other companies you've had. Sounds like your own, you ran some of your own businesses too. What differentiates where you're at now versus what you've been a part of in the past?
Okay, so let's just say for the bread route, for example, because I own that. That was a true learning experience. I was like 22 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I had it for about 4 years. And it's an awesome opportunity, but mentally I wasn't ready for it at that age.
Sure.
I slacked off or...
I can't imagine doing much at 22.
I literally hired somebody else to do my job. And I would pay the guy $400 a week. And I would basically drive my bread truck, drop it off at every location, and he would go behind me and fill the shelves or whatever, and I'd have like a 3-hour day, and it was awesome, but I just wasn't there for that. So moving further under him, I've never had a direct boss like this, like where it's directly under him. And I started with him in his dad's company, my training anyway. And then they branched.
And
he
how long
branched
ago was
off,
that?
Like the military.
Oh gosh, about 4.5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Your dad was a roofer, right?
Yeah, I'm a second generation roofer. That's my first job ever was roofing houses here in Mansfield because we would do all the new construction houses, about 100 houses a week. So in the summertime or in springtime or after I got out of school, I would literally go get my truck and
Brandon
go
always
and-
had a really nice tan.
It's because being on a roof all day.
Exactly.
Well, I would just go fix things, pick up shingles, do all, the typical, I was there.
We were
errand
paying
boy.
Palm Beach, and he was making money on a roof. And
How did you get your tan? Oh, I've been working all day.
Now I'm old and it's just red. Sterilization.
So is it more structure with?
Absolutely. So when I was working with his dad's company, and this is not to down talk anybody, but exactly how he explained it earlier is like, hey, go ride with this guy. That's how it was for me when I first started.
Gotcha.
And he wasn't in charge of training me. His dad was. So his dad would literally just say, hey, they're putting a roof up at this address. Go meet so-and-so out there and be his little buddy. So it was really tough then. And then when things split and it was, he was starting basically from scratch. And I pledged my loyalty to him.
Yes.
Many
Pledged
years
allegiance
ago.
to
To Brandon. He's really good at that PSYOP stuff. No, it was every day one-on-one training with him. I was going everywhere he went, every phone call he took. I'm listening in on it, and he had it on speakerphone or whatever so that I could learn. And it really was kind of like, all right, let's go, let's do this, let's make it happen. And
Awesome.
It's
Well,
been great.
And I know Bill can attest to that too, because real estate's kind of the same way. Like when you get your license, there's 1,000
Now
different
what?
ways you can do the business.
Yeah.
And I know you could probably the difference between somebody that goes out to just figure it out and someone that actually has somebody under their wing.
Oh yeah, I mean, here's a desk, here's a phone, good luck. Versus, here's a system. Let me show you the system. Here's a mentor. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's
By
steps you're going to do.
mentor, he means mentor.
Oh my goodness.
Mentor.
Yeah,
Sure.
and go in the library and
The
read
library.
some
He
books.
doesn't know how to say library.
Well, and everybody thinks that a military company is so like, I guarantee we have a ton of fun, a ton of jokes, very inappropriate jokes, by the way. We won't do them here. But like I said, it's big boy rules. Like every year, we just got through planning. So I take the 4 top leaders in my company, and we're not huge. We have 11 people. Okay, so I'll take the 4 top dudes, in each one of their classes, because we have a roofing division, Christmas light division, remodel division, different divisions of the company, and then a commercial division. So we take all the guys, and he's pretty much in charge of all of our residential roofing. He's the top seller of everybody, and he's our top performer. And he has been, and he should be because he's been here the longest. And he actually started with a girl named Heather.
Carlisle.
Carlisle. Y'all might know her. Schooner over from school.
Yeah. I know,
Yeah, she sold with me for years, and then she's kind of on a part-time status, kind of sends leads and stuff. She's got, the kids and the family's kind of grown to the point where, she had to step out. But they kind of came in together. We mentor each other, and I take the 4 leaders, and we develop the schedule. So every year, at the beginning of the year, we take a good week and a half, and we go through literally what we call an after-action review. What was your goals? What was the company goals? What did we do? And every company should have these things in places. And I mentor and talk to a lot of other companies, and then there's a lot of great roofing companies out there. And it doesn't mean it always flows down to the bottom level, but there's some good intent. But I push my intent to these guys so that these guys can be leaders as well. So, we're going to teach classes, and we're going to go through a week and a half of retraining from start to finish. Everybody gets a fresh course. So that if you miss something, or if you had an ego and failed to ask, because so many people get complacent and they're like, dude, I've been doing this for 2 years, but I forgot all about that process.
I'm not even looking this direction, but I know he's shaking his head.
But let's go through the process again. Let's go through the role playing. Let's go through the retraining. Let's go through the remotivation, and anything that we needed to pump up on this year, we're going to pump up on it.
Yeah.
Like this year, I told the guys, you know what?
Yes.
We hadn't worked our social media probably the best that we could have, and that's a lot of mine because I'm not a very creative personality. That's why I got him. So we're gonna build in times for our skits and videos and
Now you know.
all of those things. So we're excited to do the training and to keep up with the not just with the Joneses but surpass everybody. Because my goal is to be super successful.
Well, I think anytime you stop learning, you don't stay the same, you go backwards. And, I think that's important in any profession, that we continue to retrain. And Mike, did I see you start to rap down there at the end of the...
You did not see that.
You gonna spit something?
That is a segue.
Go.
Man, don't put me on the spot. But if you want me to rap something, it's an alter ego. So
Okay. Eminem.
And when
Skittle.
I say alter ego,
Are you Skittle?
Yes, I'm Skittle.
Okay.
When I say alter ego, it's not the same person. Like when there's a switch. So it's really hard for me to be in this mode and people be like, oh, you do this? Because I don't identify as that in that way. It's just, I don't know how to say, okay, it's time to do this. And there's,
The performer has to come on. Yeah, the switch has to be flipped. It's like in Rocky, or was it Rocky?
Over the top.
Where he over the top.
I knew what you were saying.
Yeah.
I'm a meathead. Yeah, I know this thing.
So tell us what they're talking about.
No, arm wrestling one.
Tell us what they're talking about. Who is this alter ego? What does he do?
What's his name?
So it would be Michael Heathen, which is actually my name. My middle name is Heath. So my family has called me Michael Heathen my entire life since birth. So that is the alter ego. I got in music by doing engineering. So I was sound engineering, worked in a couple studios, and that's how I got into it. But what I always noticed personally from a hip hop level was a lot of the music was very, very derogatory at all times. And when you're sitting there and you're pressing record over and over and over for somebody who's not prepared and doesn't really know what they're doing, and it just sounds like they're repeating the same thing you've heard a million times, it's almost like degrading to yourself. You're just like, oh my God.
How
many times gonna hear the word penis before I gotta just stop?
Right. My God.
I don't know any. Hold on a minute. I don't know any hip hop
You never heard
songs that say the word penis.
Slap on my penis. Like on the penis.
No, it's on my knob. By the way, slap on my knob. They do not use the p word. Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
my
Go
goodness.
ahead. Sorry, mom.
So that became a transition. I'm going to try that. I'm trying to take this. I'm not sure if you were making a segue to something, but it became more of like, I don't want to do this anymore, so I want to try doing the other side of it.
Right.
Sure.
And I've always been very, very, to toot my own horn, I've always been very good at writing. And so it kind of just fell into place. I actually did rock music prior to my engineering days, so I was a singer in a rock band, and that was really enjoyable, and I was still trying to fill that void, I guess. So I took advantage of the situation that I was in. I started writing raps.
Awesome. Is there anywhere we can hear this? or
Yes,
see this?
Michael Heathen. I'm gonna plug myself. So Michael Heathen's on every major outlet. You can Spotify, iTunes, whatever. It's on all of them. YouTube. We got music videos. We have a Core 4 Contractors.
That's
music video.
Awesome.
We will be sure to link that in the description box below.
And on Michael Heathen as well, my IMDb will pop up because I'm an entertainer from top to bottom. So I've been the last 3 or 4 years, which is what is amazing about this job and this gentleman is I have the opportunity now to kind of be like, okay, hey, Wednesday, I've got an audition, or Wednesday I'm doing this. Can I make sure I can do that? And with the way this job works, it's
That's awesome.
make sure
Well,
you can-
and I think most companies need to be that way. You need to have a life, and you seeking your passion only makes you better at your job. If it's when you're pigeonholed to this is you and this, and you can't have any other interest or any other thing, from 8 to 5. Like, I think that's when we get robots and it's not productive.
And passions are very, very expensive.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
And that's the good thing
This one.
about our company and about the business in general. If you do it right, you do it well, you're going to make decent enough money to clear it up for your passion.
Yep.
And you're like, wait, you know what? Like, the guy who wants to hunt goes, oh man, I made so much money that if I saved it right, hopefully they did, and they didn't just buy a big truck and go broke, because it happens a lot.
Hey, are you talking about Michael?
Yeah, Michael.
No,
I'm
I'm
just
just talking about the average guys. Like, man, they always brag about that stuff they did this year, and then next year they call me and then they go, all right, bro, I need help.
Yeah, back to the basics. Yeah.
But it gives these guys a good opportunity to do their passions.
That's so good. I
love
love
it.
that.
That's
I love to
great.
hear that.
Love everything that we've heard. We've got a little session in this, or a little section in this, that we call Tales from the Lockbox.
Okay, so it was on me today, and I was keeping with the military theme. And don't Google this, or maybe you could. Just know that I don't condone the language. But if you ever have extra internet time, look up funny things that my drill sergeant said. But I did that thinking I could share some, and I could share none of them. So I will do something else. So this was a story that I found. It said, my battle buddy and I were ordered to dig holes. We were about waist deep. Our drill sergeant started to put water into the hole that we were standing in, and another sergeant came by and said, what are you doing? And the drill sergeant said, I'm just watering my daisies. And so no, petunias, I'm sorry. The word was petunias. Let me start over. No, but I looked up the military life, and it's something that, my dad was in the Air Force, but it was not, we weren't like a military family, and, he was long out of the military when I came along. And so it was not something I was always, around, and I get overwhelmed by the different acronyms and the different things.
There's so many things to know.
I'm always afraid I'm going to call somebody the wrong thing.
I always feel like I'm going to accidentally say that someone was in the Army when they were in the Air Force, and they're going to get offended or something.
Yeah, which can happen. Yeah. So, but all that to be said, I am so blessed and honored to know
Thank you.
you, and I think you've
Appreciate
taught me
it.
a ton. And thank you for your service, by the way, and
No
you too, Bill.
problem.
And yeah, I don't know. It's eye opening to me, and there's so much that I don't know that it over.
Well, if you want to see
overwhelms me.
personality stuff, there's a million things that you can watch on YouTube on
yeah.
funny military videos and very inappropriate things that I probably won't tell you guys on here.
Exactly.
But the average day of us is fart jokes,
yeah.
Yeah.
penis
This
jokes.
is military.
That sounds like our office.
Oh, Jaisy would fit right in.
Yeah.
I would fit in
Are
somewhere.
you
You guys
military?
But no, it's a blessing. Thanks for having us here. We love it. And like I said, I have ADD, so I'm very weird about having to do this. I'm like,
You're doing
"Oh,
awesome.
You did
You're doing
great.
good. We've got one other little section we like to
gonna
do.
level
We
up.
want to level up now, since we've talked about fart jokes and penises. So, Jaisy,
So the quote that I have is, the most meaningful way to succeed is to help others. And I thought that was such a great quote. And I think it speaks so much to what your company does, C4 Contractors. You're not only succeeding or trying to make a lot of money for yourself, you're teaching a lot of guys and helping them in a way that's helping them to succeed. And I think that your company is going to live on far longer than you, and your legacy is. And so thank you so much for what you're doing, and for all that you've done for our community, for roofs everywhere.
And Mike, thank you for what you're doing for the music industry.
Yes.
I cannot take another penis song that apparently is a thing.
well,
It's going to become a thing.
That
Y'all
sounds
just
like a title.
Y'all
I
just
cannot take
wait.
another penis.
I cannot take another penis.
I want to make it
Literally.
abundantly clear that I don't speak the same language, I guess. I don't use the same terms or make the songs that they make. I haven't really set out to put a stop to that. I just decided I didn't want to do that and listen to that. So I just started making my own music.
that's cool.
I didn't like, I'm going to take this industry down the face.
I'm going to take this industry by storm.
One more derogatory word.
Well, I still love it. Well, guys, thank you very much for being here.
Yes,
thank
thank
you,
y'all so much.
everybody, for listening. You can find us anywhere where you can find your favorite podcast, any place that you can find your favorite podcast. With that being said, please leave us a comment, like us,
And
tell
check-
us what you think.
Check these guys out on Facebook, Instagram too, right?
Yeah. Core 4 Contractors. Tell your neighbors.
Awesome.
All right, this is PB and Jaisy Show. We out.
We out.
Just had a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.